Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Badger Breakdown, brought to you by U.S. Cellular. I'm Mike Lucas from UWBadgers.com. I'm joined by Matt Lepay, the voice of the Badgers. And Matt, last weekend I was watching Bowling Green play, and I had a flashback to 2005, Barry Alvarez's final season here, the reopening of Camp Randall Stadium. And just a wild shootout between Wisconsin and Bowling Green. It was like 56-42, and I almost thought that we could see a repeat or a sequel of that here on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a good flashback. I was thinking of 1998, Drew Brees chucking it 83 times too, and Wisconsin, what, 10? Something like that in that game. Mike Samuel had to ice down the arm. We could. I think this is going to be an interesting test for the Badger defense. You have to remember, a lot of these guys on defense haven't played against a fast-paced offense at this level. Maybe they did at the high school level. They certainly have in practice, but seeing it on a game, in a college game situation, is going to be a little different animal for them. So it's going to be fun to see how the Badger defense can handle this.
The thing you wonder about in this context is last year the Badgers played at Arizona State, and they faced 93 plays on defense. That's a lot, but you make a good point. Not many of those players return, so you have a young cast on the field.
Yeah, 113 plays that Bowling Green ran in the game against Indiana. So could be some adjusting on the run. I guess I would look at this in a very plain and simple terms for Wisconsin: a good conditioning test, and maybe more importantly, a good communication test. Sub when you can, which you can on defense when the offense subs, but have yourself on the same page, which is easier said than done probably in a real game setting. So communication and endurance, I think, will be a couple of big storylines for this game.
One of the themes of this defense is bats and picks, and I think this will be an opportunity for the secondary to get their hands on a few of those picks.
It was interesting, Darius Hillary meeting with a lot of media members earlier in the week, and a lot of the DBs, but smiling, knowing that some chances could be there. Now, BG didn't go downtown much. It was a lot of short and intermediate throws, and it is going to be hard to get to the quarterback because he gets it out of his hands in a hurry. But sometimes the best kind of defense is a good ball control offense. So we'll see what Wisconsin offensively. I know Gary Anderson loves the explosive plays. Who doesn't? But at the same time, it would be interesting to see if Wisconsin can grind it a little bit on offense and keep Bowling Green's offense on the sidelines.
Because the Badgers have had so much success running the football over the years, I can understand the impatience of some fans when they're having trouble running the ball as they did against Western Illinois.
Yeah, and I think Wisconsin is still going to have to prove to opposing defensive coordinators that it can hurt opposing defenses by throwing the ball. Give Tanner McAvoy a lot of credit. He got rhythm in the second half, shorter throws, much of the time, not all the time, but the bubble screen was very effective for him for this offense. But if you're an opposing defensive coordinator, you figure they're probably going to keep crowding the box, daring Wisconsin to throw. And as Western Illinois proved, they have a couple decent players inside. Doesn't matter if it's FBS or FCS. If they load it up, it could be hard to move that pile, and Wisconsin had a little trouble doing that for a while.
And again, based on the personality of the Bowling Green team we saw against Indiana, it could be a blitz drill here for Tanner McAvoy. And I'm really curious to see how he responds. Now he's coming off a really good, solid start. Can he build on that?
Yeah, Bowling Green has had a lot of troubles on defense early on. They lost some key players from a year ago, which was a very good defensive team in winning the MAC. They've had some health issues this year. Defensive lineman has been out. One of their outside linebackers was hurt in a game against VMI. That was the second game that BG played. So they're, at least against Indiana, look like they're willing to take some chances. They're just going to go ahead and come after you. So we'll see what kind of protection Tanner can get and how Tanner will be able to stand up against it.
I want to single out one player on offense because he's so typical of so many walk-ons that come to this program and then have success. His role model was Jared Aberderis, and now Alex Erickson is starting to produce as a wide receiver.
Yeah, 10 catches. That was big time. And to me, I talked to him about it this week. You look back at the bowl game, he had a couple catches, or had a handful of catches late in the season, a couple in the Penn State game. The bowl game, one catch for 6 yards. That was a great catch. Got hurt on it, but it was, he got flipped in the air and even surprised himself by his own admission that he hung on to the ball. But a little play like that was maybe a prelude for him, hopefully not getting hurt, but being able to make a really tough catch. But I do think it's important, when you look up to a guy like Jared Aberderis, the Luke Swan comparisons come up as well. But it's important for Alex Erickson to be Alex Erickson, and that was a big game for him against Western Illinois. Hopefully he can build on that.
And one final thought: a coach like Gary Anderson and his assistants—they're all looking for the same thing, that complete game. As they start inching towards the Big Ten opener, that's what's going to be uppermost on their mind again here Saturday.
Yeah, keep improving. They had to be encouraged with the way they played in the second half against Western Illinois. It's an early time of the year for a bye week, but maybe that's not a bad thing. They have BG, they have South Florida next week, but keep getting better. This is a Bowling Green team that, yes, there are new faces, but they have a championship in their league. The MAC has beaten the Big Ten 3 times already this season, so the Badger players, I think, are very well aware of that. BG is on the radar here, so I don't think there's any sneaking in kind of concept, but important for the Badgers to keep improving, keep getting better in time for Big Ten play against Northwestern here in a few weeks.
For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown, brought to you by US Cellular.